Welcome to the Know Yourself Revolution podcast. My name is Grace Gravestock, and I'm excited to interview Kathy Baldwin today. Kathy, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for helping us know, love, and trust ourselves. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Grace. I am the coach and founder at Rise Up Coaching. I'm the author of Unlearn the Crap About Personal Success and Empowerment. And I guide my clients through their challenges, usually with stress and burnout, to their authentic true north by knowing the bioresonance of their body and all of the universal laws.
Wow, that's a lot. I love it. So where should we start, Kathy? I usually like to start with your hero's journey. Could you talk a little bit about a challenge that you overcame that brought you to doing this kind of work?
Absolutely. I was one of those women who took on the world too strong for too long. My body was screaming with stress and adrenal fatigue and fibromyalgia, and I just kept soldiering on until I could no longer soldier anymore, and I had a full breakdown. So I was able to then take the 40 years of study that I'd been studying and giving away and helping everybody with and heal myself with the program that I created after the medical system thought all I needed were pills and platitudes.
I love that because it's so similar to my own journey. And that's perfect. That's a perfect hero's journey story because it tells us that you've been there. You've really been there, done it, and now you've got past these challenges that so many people are going through, and it's that first of all that there is hope on the other side, and you listened to your body. That's the key piece that jumped out at me. I think I'm going through some of that right now. I've had migraine headaches for so many years, and I finally overcame those, but then there's more stuff that pops up, and I think I need to stop pushing myself so hard. So that part of your story really resonates.
It's so true. Our body communicates with us, but nobody's told us what that language is. We're bioenergy beings. We have hormones and all sorts of chemicals that run through our body. We're energetic beings. And when we shove down and suppress and just take care of what we're told we should and not listen to our bodies, then all we're doing is creating disease by our own immune system coming in and attacking the stuff we're suppressing.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so many times, in my experience anyway, our bodies giving way are really just the body saying, "Hey, you're not in balance."
Absolutely. I use the word alignment, but yes, whether it's because our bodies are always in a state of homeostasis. We're always moving in and out of balance. But when we're out of alignment, for me, that means that our heart, our mind, our gut, our dreams, our beliefs, our values, it's not all aligned. And that's usually because we're giving stuff away to everybody and everything because we've been told that's what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. And so much of what we've been told about what we're supposed to do does not serve us, and it doesn't help us in the long term. It might help us in the short term, but it's not usually, at least the kind of stuff we're talking about, it's not usually beneficial for us to stick with long term. So it's time, I feel, as in this time of change that the world is going through, to let go of the things that no longer serve us and focus on the things that will support us, and starting with taking care of ourselves first. That's one of my key messages. So I love that you also share that. Where do you recommend for people to start when they're on a journey like this, where they have a health condition or something that's their body's way of getting their attention?
My suggestion is listen to your body. The doctors might be telling you it's something else. My doctors were always looking for disease, but nobody ever sat and took a look at my life and my body as a whole being. And if we're honest and we understand that things are changing and we're well aware of what's going on around us, we just have to stop and listen.
Yeah, it sounds so simple. Just stop and listen, right? Why is that so hard? But I get it. It really can be that simple. And if somebody's listening right now and that really resonates for them and they're saying, yeah, stop and listen. What am I supposed to listen for? Like, how would you answer that?
To me, stress and burnout are the exact opposite of being in alignment. So if you start feeling yourself being highly stressed, fatigued, not sleeping, weight gain, whether it is loss of joy in life, I used to scream all the time, I'm empty, I've got nothing left, because it felt like I was just so empty. So I was screaming out, but I was looking for someone else to come and save me. Oh, you're empty. Let me come fill you up. But I figured out that was my job, and nobody ever told me it was my job. So once I learned that I could and should take care of myself before anyone else, like that, put the air mask on yourself before anyone else, that we listen to our body that way.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. It's such a journey. It's such a journey. So if somebody wanted to work with you, talk about who is best to work with you and how do they know if that would be for them?
If you are ready and you are done being sick and tired and you are done living a life that feels half a life, and you are actually ready to say, I'm ready for myself, because it takes a stand. It really takes a decision to say no more. And my goal is that I can reach enough people who want to get that information before they lose everything like I did. Because if someone had been able to catch me before I fell and broke into a million pieces, I wouldn't have had to go it the hard way. So if you know that you're ready, because unlearning the crap is about undoing what we believe to be true and challenging our thoughts and our feelings. What I do is I teach people what their body is saying and how it feels, and the way it's programmed, and the way the way your beliefs get made. And then I also teach about our emotions and our energy and all those other things that are being spoken to us, and then the universal laws, so that we can navigate. And when you have that information, we don't need therapy. We don't need to dig up bones. We don't need to carry around traumas and pains that are just depleting us. And so I, I'm going to say this, and to answer your question, the hardest thing that I had to do in my healing journey was to look at myself in the eye and say, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for you. And for me to get to the place where I'm like, I'm really sorry, Kathy, I let you down. I put everybody ahead of you. And it was a tough moment. So if someone's ready to say, I was not born to be part of a system that's disempowering. I'm here for a purpose, and I have a gift, and I have a purpose, and I have a meaning, which I think we all do. And we are, like you said, we're in a pivotal change. AI is here, automation, robotics, our world is changing, our structures are crumbling, and we are needed to step in and bring our best, more than we've ever been, in my belief.
I couldn't agree more. And the fact that I love what you said a little bit ago about how it's about taking responsibility and nobody's going to step in and save us. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. And we have to step in and be there for ourselves uh, before we can help anyone else. And if we don't know how to take care of ourselves, then we really are not that useful, I would say.
We weren't We weren't programmed or prepared for taking care of ourselves. We were brought into a society that says serve everybody else, take care of everybody else's needs. You are the last on the list. We have to undo and unlearn all of that.
I couldn't agree more. So the tool that's helped me the most was human design, but I know that a lot of people don't even know about that, and that's okay. What was it for you when you realized, and you mentioned a little bit of the story a minute ago, but how what was the turning point for you when you realized that you had to be there for yourself? What was the catalyst for that turning point?
The psychiatrist that I was finally sent to help make me right told me that his role in my healing journey was only to prescribe the right chemical balance for me. And I realized, okay, if I'm going to live, because I was at rock bottom, that I needed to do it myself. And so I moved backwards because I came from a management background. So root cause analysis and all of those things were part of what the way I thought. And I realized that if fibromyalgia was from stress and inflammation, which 90% of our diseases come from stress and inflammation, and I was suppressing it down, and they're all chemicals that I needed energy healing to release it. So I became an energy healer, but then I also did the healing work of cutting off anything that didn't serve me, because it was like carrying a weight that wasn't mine.
I love that. Yeah, that's totally resonates with me. So, if there's somebody listening right now and they're thinking, "Yeah, I have so many things that are weighing me down," could you just talk a little bit about what helped you the most to, you said, cut those things out of your life? What did that actually look like in practical terms?
I am a big proponent of all of the universal laws. So when I went back to a root cause, and it wasn't just the law of attraction, it is the law of polarity, the law of relativity, the law of gestation, the law of compensation, like all of these laws, and use them to become critically thinking about where this happened, and then actually rewire my own brain and create my own story. Just like if we were building our business, we would build a business from our mission statement, our values, our goals, our everything, and we can do that for ourselves. And so it was a little bit of all of this information that created a real holistic healing from the physical, the biology, the energy, the quantum physics, the all of it, because it's we're not static flat beings. We are very interconnected, interrelated systems.
We are, yeah, we are holistic, and it's easy to forget that. And I like what you said initially about how something about looking at your whole being when you were going through all that change. And I think that's something that people forget, that we forget. It's easy for us humans to say to forget that there's so many pieces of us that fit together, and that it's not just one thing. We're not just a number. We're not just the physical health. There's the mind, body, spirit. There's so many aspects. There's the habits that we have. There's the lifestyle choices that we make. There's the people that surround us that we allow into our world. And all of those are factors in creating the situation that we are in. So I just want to highlight that what you said really resonates with me as far as letting go of the things that no longer serve you and lightening your load a little bit. And so that could look different for every person, but
Absolutely.
really thinking holistically about your life and what are the pieces that really no longer serve. And sometimes that takes time and reflection. And I think that's been something, especially me coming from corporate as you have, it's I often have thought, who has time for that? I know it's important, and there's no other way around it. But in the moment of busyness, it's like I don't have, I sometimes feel like I don't have enough time to reflect like I should or could. So if somebody's listening right now and your story is really resonating with them, Kathy, maybe you could share a little bit about what they could do right now to really do an assessment on what it is, how they could let go of something that's no longer serving them.
I can give an example which hopefully will make sense. My mother had this funny joke that she would say that she was so perfect that she didn't have bodily functions. And it was a big standing family joke. Do you know that I lived with IBS and gut problems, and I had so many things that were going on in my digestion? And the doctors were looking for disease and poking here and there. And it wasn't until I went through that process that I realized that my brain had interpreted her joke to mean that there was something wrong with me if I had a bodily function. And my advice is to start looking at the things that aren't working, the things that are causing you pain, that are disrupting your life. Because if you start with the big things, usually you go back to something that was pretty insignificant from your past, that your brain and habits have turned it into something that's really disempowering. And take a look, does this serve me? Because anything and everything can be true. It's just a matter what works.
And what works for one person is going to be different probably for than what works for another person. So I think it's a process, right? It's not just a one and done, and it takes time and it takes experimentation sometimes.
Absolutely. If I had have known 30 years ago that I didn't have to suffer with these gut problems only because if I all I had to do was look at my thoughts, I could have solved 30 years of suffering.
Wow.
So yeah, so when we decide whether it's important or not, how much are you suffering?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Yeah, I'm hearing you and I'm thinking, yeah, if I don't have time to really consider what's what in my environment is so stressful, then how can I ever solve it? It has to start with awareness, and that sometimes doesn't take a lot of time. It just takes, and I think, a willingness to reflect and a willingness to address it, and making that choice that I'm going to address it. I think is something that is harder than it sounds sometimes.
Absolutely. It is very hard, especially when we're in that busy place of the world and we think that it's overwhelming because we don't know what to do. And that's when my suggestion is get some help. Get someone who's been there, someone who knows what you're going through, who has been to the other side, because it doesn't have to be overwhelming. Nothing in our bodies with some knowledge can't be overcome. And taking it and bring it to a purpose and a worth and a value to your life.
Yeah, nothing can't be overcome. I like that. So if somebody was interested in working with you, Kathy, what would be the best way they could reach out to you?
I'm hoping you're going to put the contact information in the show notes. I do have a calendar link that they can book a phone call and just see if how we connect and if there's any connection or alignment between us. I am at riseupcoaching.io. My book is unlearnthecrap.com. And you can find me social media, Rise Up Coaching and Kathy Baldwin anywhere.
Awesome. We will definitely put the details in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for your time, Kathy. I appreciate you being part of the Know Yourself Revolution. Together, we can positively impact 5 billion people by 2025
Yes.
by helping, by amplifying each other's messages and helping others to know, love, and trust themselves. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Grace.